Okay. Hello, everybody. How's it going? All right. It's gonna be a quick one. Mostly quick because I am just going to go over the new Kaliedo stuff. So what I mean by that is just the new firmware that I've added, or we've added, the team added firmware for us to use Kaliedo on Hibean over BLE. It's not a huge deal, but it's something like iOS users want that Kaliedo can't do for whatever reasons they can. They have all the capabilities of doing it on their chipset, on their board, but they just refuse to do it. So this will be a step-by-step for that. And then I got a little update on a belted drum drive with a stepper that I actually got pretty far with. So I'll show that what's that looking like. And then I think I got it for, I think I get like, you could probably purchase the whole kit with ESP32, maybe a back panel, possibly for like less than 100. So, and it just adds a bunch of the features that you would want. And also a custom made backplate. But I've still got to get that Casa purchased out by Senkatsen. So I'll show that all stuff off later. Anyways, we're gonna do the Kaliedo stuff today. So we're gonna grab any Kaliedo I have, which would be, we'll try the M1 Pro. Oh, someone had an M1 Pro, said they couldn't get it working. So we'll show you how to connect that to there. So you're gonna need, of course, Kaliedo M1 Pro or M1 Lite. This also works with the M1 Lite. This works for the M2 Legacy, and I think it works with most of any of the recent Kaleidos. Just depends on which one you have. I don't know about the M6 or the M10, but let me move that up. Those should work for it as well. I'm still fixing up the back. All right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do this. Let's go down over here. We'll put the back plate on. We'll do the whole thing like it's our first time or something. Anyways. So we'll look over here. So there is the back plate, right? So there's the back plate of the M1 Pro. You really just, it's really super easy to pull off. Even the M1 Lite is pretty easy to pull off the back plate. We're just gonna pull this all off. Usually there's like a top screw. M1 Lite has like 2 screws you have to unscrew from the back, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, you just need 2 things. You just need to make sure that you have access to this port. And if there's one way that works with just using this port, and then there's another way where you have to use, where you could use this port, just a USB port, but you also need a power line to it. There's a few ways you could add power to it, but for convenience sake, I'm gonna do this one first, and then we'll do this one second. All right, let's go on the main website where we keep everything, which is SkyWiki. That's where I'm gonna put all the files on, or links to the files at least. So for this one, let's go here. So we have SkyWiki, skywiki.coffee. Then you wanna click on the Kaliedo Hibean BLE firmware. So this is called Snow Bear because Bear made it, and that guy is from a certain series related to the Skywalker. So what you need is pretty much the ESP32S3, the Zero board, which is the one we use for most of all our projects. So this one right here. You're gonna need a working, now a lot of people don't get this, but you need a working USB-C cable to USB-A for the one we're gonna use for the top USB port, which is the easier one because it powers the ESP2, but you need a data cable. A lot of the times people will try to use a charging cable and they'll be like, how come none of the data is going through? It's literally because there's only positive and like there's only a ground and the voltage in. So you need to get nothing fancy like this, like these thick cords, but just something that has both data, like a standard USB-C cable that might have came with your phone. Just has to have data on it. Usually the cheaper and thinner they are, the more likely they're just for charging. Anyways, and So like I said, there's two ways of doing it. You could do it the UART way, which is the top USB port, or the CP10 2X way, which is it connects to the bottom USB port. So right now we're just going to download this file for the Kaliedo top USB A port. And you just, whenever you're on GitHub, you just click here to download the raw file. You know, it'll do something like that. So let's go back to SkyWiki. After that, now let's follow the steps. So we download the binary. Now we're going to go to this website, web.esphome. I'm going to open that on a different tab. Okay, so you'll see something like this. So now what you want to do, you're going to take your ESP32S3. Oh, I stepped on this one. Whoops. And we'll take that. We're going to plug it into the USB-C side. You can get the you can either have you get the one with the welded ones where it has the pins out. They say welded on there, but they're just soldered on pins in case you want to do a modification such as the drum modification, or you want to add RTD. Then you might want to consider getting the what they call welded, but it's just soldered pin ones, and you can buy them separately. And I think they're like a penny difference or like 10 cents difference for them to weld it. So it's up to you if you want to. I usually just stick with the ESP32S3 zeros that are just not soldered on with the pins if I'm just doing a basic setup. So put this in just so it's like we're going to do for real. Anyways, I plug that in, and you're going to plug this into whatever USB that connects to your computer. Oops, I hit the mic. There we go. Never turned that off. Anyways. Okay, and then we're gonna reset this into boot mode. Okay. Then we go to web, ESPHome, connect, and you should see something that says JTAG. Oh, it's not on there. So I think I broke this one. I did step on this one. Hold on, let me grab another one. Buy in bulk. All right, so we'll go ahead. We're going to open this one up. Good. You see how that comes back and forth? We're going to do a boot mode. So when I say we're going to do boot mode, so you go here, there's a button that says B and a button that says R. So you want to hold down B and hit R. Good. And see how the JTAG serial, this thing right here, it says JTAG serial USB. It'll stop going back and forth. Like, oh, come in and out. That's because now you're in boot mode. So we'll go hit boot mode, hit to connect, hit install, choose file, and you want to download whatever, the Snow Bear one, right? So we'll do this one, Snow Bear, open, and then hit install. You can kind of wait. Perfect. All right, it's already installed in. You could hit reset to see if it lights up. So when you hit reset, that light should turn on. So we're gonna unplug this. So if you this is the first time opening up your M1 Pro and you never use the Kaliedo tablet thing, then you could just pop this thing off, this green thing. And we're going to plug into this one. So I'm just going to plug it in like I normally would. USB. Make sure it's kind of all the way in. It's kind of in a weird area, so push it in. We are now going to plug it in. We'll plug this in. Looks good, and we'll turn it on. And that should light up. This light should light up, and then these lights will light up and everything. And now we're going to connect to it. So we're going to close this out. I just got to turn air server on, because now we're going to stream from the tablet. This is a Mac Mini, so if you would have tried Hibean before, it only works with Android on stock Kaliedos. Now with the firmware, you're able to use iOS devices. So let's go ahead. Let me stream to there. Let me fix my camera too. Ugh. Boop, 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 boop. Ah, that works. All right. So we're going to go to Hibean. I'll flip it this way. Give us a little bit more screen. Let me expand this out a little bit too. Hey, come back. Full screen. Oh, guess that's full screen. Anyways, so I'm gonna delete this. I don't know where my music went. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna hook this up. We're gonna go hit the plus sign. You're gonna find your roaster. So Kaliedo M1, M1 Lite, and you're gonna look for roaster SRV6, and that is our roaster. So notice how I hit M1 Lite, M1 Lite Pro. I should say BLE. Hold on. Anyways, I'm going to go to dual system, and I'm going to do Bluetooth low energy. And then we are going to do roaster SRS V6. The other ones, I got to change the name. Maybe I'll change the name of that roaster SRV6 and change it to something else like roaster SRS V6 BLE. So complete. All right. So that's pretty much connected, right? So you see BT is 29, ET is 30. If you want to do quick checks, you could do drum, turn that on, go full speed. Do fan, full speed. Cooling on. Got the whole gamut of things going on. And if you want to make sure the heater's working, we'll turn the heater on. We'll bust that out to, let's do 220. I don't know, who cares? Let's see, just see if the temperature goes up. Yeah. So I should turn it on. It's going up. It's going up higher. So there's one way of doing this. Okay. I'm going to show you the other way now. Let me just turn this off. I just want to turn it off. Please let me turn it off. We're just gonna do it. This. All right, we'll turn that off. We'll keep this on. Now we're gonna do it another way. It's worse. Fuck is calling me? I didn't set up my camera. Okay, I think I'm less crooked. Let me double check Discord, see if anybody said anything. Nope. Okay. Anyways, so the next way to connect the Kaliedo is to do it via CP210X, which is pretty much what the USB port is. There's like CHT or CH drivers or whatever that you probably had to download before. And then there's CP210X, and I think it's just the form of USB connection. Who gives a shit? We're going to connect it though through that way. And what I mean by that is we're going to take it off from here. So we're not using this port anymore. Well, we're going to use it still, but I'm going to pull this out. Then we are going to use this. See how that's blue? So that's a data cable. We're going to plug it into here. And then we're going to plug this cable. You would probably plug it into a 5-volt power supply, so source. So don't go any higher than 5 volt or you'll blow up your ESP32. But this is 5 volt actually, so that's why it was a little redundant doing it this way. But this is a totally different way of doing it, and it might work a little bit better in your case. But we'll see. We're gonna plug this in over here, and this is gonna power the module. So that's seated fully in there. So you got that connected here to there. And this will go into the USB-C, but let's upload the firmware first. So we'll go back to the front. It's not front. Let's go, nope, that's not one. There. So yet again, take this. We're using that same exact one, but I'm just gonna replug it in and put the other firmware in. Right. So again, this is not in boot mode. So hold down B, press R, then it's back into boot mode. So let's go back to this window. There we go. All right. So now let's go ahead. We're going to go back to the SkyWiki. And in the SkyWiki, we're going to go to Kaliedo Hibean BLE. So now we're going to do, we'll call this the CP10X way or USB way with the splitter. So I have the link if you want to buy the exact splitter I use, but as long as it's compatible with like on-to-go USB, and it splits it to 2, and one is mainly just for data, and it should work just fine. So this part usually to the left, it's smaller, thinner, and that's usually the power. And the thicker one that's blue on the USB side, that's where all the data comes, just in case you connect it wrong. So now we are going to use the CP210X. This is the bottom USB port. So we're going to click on that one. We're going to download it just like we did before. This has a longer name because Bear is organized and he likes to keep his versions out there. So if you ever get a Bear version, it's BLE host version 1.2Z. Z stands for 0. If it's without the Z, then it's a super mini. If it's me, I'm lazy and I just put Snow Bear. One day I'll be organized, but not today. So, and then we'll go back over here to the instruction place, and we're going to go down the steps, and let's go back to our favorite website, ESP Home. All right, ESP home, we're gonna hit connect. And there it is again. So anytime you have ESP32S3, you're gonna see JTAG as the one you wanna, the debugging unit. You could ignore all these ones. This is the one you want. And then I will hit install, choose file, and then we're gonna hit the BLE host V, whatever, blah, 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 and we're gonna hit open. And then of course, install. I did find an ESP32S3 flasher that doesn't have to go through this website. If anybody wants to download that and not have to go to this website or rely on it, because I'm not 100% sure if it'll be available for the rest of, you know, forever, but at least there's like a separate program you can use to upload firmware if it came down to it. Although I think there's a way I can host one of these, but I don't want to spend any more money. So close. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to go back to the tablet. So I'm gonna go ahead. Good, let's make that bigger. We're gonna go back. I'm gonna delete this real quick. All right, next thing we're gonna do is take our little blue chip, our ESP32S30, take that out, plug it into here. Okay, I haven't turned it on yet, so the lights, of course, it's not on. So let's go ahead and we'll turn this on. Beep, beep. And now it's flashing. We're good to go. So same deal. We're gonna go ahead, hit the plus sign on our iPad or iOS device or Android or whatever, and then we're gonna go down. And you just gotta find wherever they're gonna put. I have no idea where Will wants to put the BLE stuff, Bluetooth Low Energy so kind of might have to search around. For this version of his beta, he wants to go to M1, dual system, BLE. Then you got Roaster SRV6. It completes. There it again. We have 39 and 38. If you are connected correctly, you will have a blue light show up. And if you want to make sure you're connected to it and not mess around, I'm just going to quickly disconnect Bluetooth, and you'll kind of see what happens to the light. Oh wait, that's wrong one. Okay, see how it went red? They disconnected it from the Bluetooth, so we'll reconnect to it. I have to turn my Bluetooth back on. Hopefully it does it. Okay, Bluetooth is on. And let's go here to that, so you can see both. So here it is. I'm gonna hit disconnect so I can reconnect. And it turns green, okay? So, and green indicates that you are connected to a Bluetooth device, in case you get confused between if it's connecting to classic Bluetooth or BLE. So now we know it's connected to BLE because the green light's on. And then again, you could check all that other stuff and make sure it works. Good, heat turned on, fan turned on, that turned on, cooling fan. Everything turned on, so we know it's working. All right, so that's how you basically connect your Kaliedo M1. This works for the Legacy as well. Assuming you have the Legacy without the Artisan, because long ago they used to sell the Kaliedo M2 Legacies with the option without Artisan. And what that usually meant is they would sell you this and they would just remove the daughter board that connects to a JST onto the board. And they would charge you like 200 bucks. Like if we compare that to to a legacy unit that I have. You can tell that that area that would hold that board, they even have holes for cutouts for it. That's where they usually would put it. Have little cutouts for where you could attach. So they wanted $200 for this USB port and a little JST. I think it's like a JST XH connector to connect to it. And it was all firmware locked. I guess in this case it would be hardware locked because they didn't provide you the daughter board. Anyways, that's how you would connect it to Hibean using BLE. We are now, you know, we're using something that's what iOS prefers for safety reasons. For some reason, they don't like classic Bluetooth. I think reliability wise, classic Bluetooth is not as good as BLE. BLE is a lot lower energy, but yeah, that's basically how you would install that. Anyways, that's pretty much it for that. That's 205. I'm going to just show you one more thing that I've been working on, and then we'll call it pretty quick today. I got to pick them up at like 10 minutes. Okay, I got 10 minutes to show you. And I'm going to try coming back on Friday to do a roast. I need a roast. I haven't roasted in a long time. I'm running out all the beans. I'm finally down lower than 2 pounds, so that's good. All right, let's work on this. So I'm gonna take this down. Ugh. I guess I'll just turn the camera. Since I don't want to move everything. All right. Don't mind the Neo Geo arcade system that I've been meaning to work on for the past 4 or 5 years of my life. This is let's enhance. Enhance. All right, so this is a new kind of setup I did for my my upcoming Skywalker V1. We've been also having all those weird issues with the drum being shitty, drum motor being shitty. So now instead of using a weaker drum motor, and we're trying something, approaching it a little bit differently. This is the drum. This is a belted drum setup. So this uses a GT2 belt with two GT pulleys. I don't know if it's GT2 or 2GT. There's a big difference between those two. So I think it's like an 80 millimeter belt. It is EDPM, so it's heat resistant up to like 120 degrees Celsius or something crazy like that. It also this has a servo kind of attachment, because working with 2209s, I don't know if you know anything about those, but 2209 TMC drivers were kind of a pain in the dick. So using this instead to control it has been a lot easier. So I'm going to hook it up to here. Let me plug it in. I got 500 grams in there of beans, cold start. So let me start this one. Actually, I could connect it to my tablet. So let me try the tablet. So we're going to cook it up to here. we're gonna look up Skywalker community and Sky Command ESP32 BLE. I don't know if he added on this one, but there should be controllable drum. Yes, enable jump control speed. So I haven't hooked it up to the power supply yet, but we will do this. So if you look up here, there's my power supply that I have hooked up to it. So I'll turn this on. Okay, holding torque is, that's pretty high. So let's go back over here, zoom in. All right, you probably really can't see, it's probably pretty blurry, but we're gonna try and turn it on. There we go. And then I can control the speed. So I limited to like 30 RPM. Right now, instead of percentage, 16%, I got it hooked up to where it's like 50 RPM. So if I do 51%, that'll be 51 RPM, 58 RPM, 74 RPM, 100. I max it out at 100 RPM because that shit just flings it. And then you could go to a dead stop, and then if you go really fast, you really could stress out the motor. So it'd be best to keep it at 50. But I'm only using like 0.41 amps, which is twice as many amps as the original stock motor was using. But this way is also a little bit more control and a little bit more responsive and doesn't overheat as much. We'll see. I haven't tested it out yet, but I'm gonna test it out and see how it works, but it's been working just fine. One thing I am gonna do is I'll probably remove this whole control part right here. This whole part right here is what controls it. It has the motor driver, and I'm gonna pull this out, have a longer cord, and keep it on the outside so this doesn't overheat. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Keep it nice and short and simple. I think I'm only on for like 34 minutes. That's the fastest, I think. So, yeah. Let me turn that off. We'll unzoom. We'll go back over here. Go one of these. I need to start roasting, so I bought a bunch of, okay, I have to go lower. So I bought a bunch of beans. I got a bunch of beans I'm going to go through. I'm going to do a gauntlet roast. So I'm going to try roasting on all the Kaliedos. More specifically, I'm going to roast on this thing finally. Even though the SR900 is coming out next month, I have this SR800 that's been modded up. So I got some beans in there, kind of fucking around with it. I figured the cord I was actually using the gauge wasn't meant for it. It was a lower gauge. So I'm going to try, or no, higher gauge. So I'm gonna try a lower gauge cord and see if that works better with the heat. Because I noticed it wasn't getting nowhere near as hot as it should be, and I was taking like 10 minutes to do, or 12, like 15 minutes or 18 minutes to do 250 grams. So we'll play with this. This is all full controlled, and it works with Artist and Hibean. So I'm gonna test this one co-ferment out. I'm gonna try all three of these roasters. I'm gonna figure out which one I like the most. I'm gonna use this. Trying to add more content. We're gonna use this. It's the Coffee Lol. It's like the Omni Shift, but I'm praying that it's not as shitty. So I think the Omni Flux, whatever the fuck it's called, it's doing weird things like negative Agtron. And the guy that kind of helps run it says he doesn't know what's wrong. He doesn't see what's wrong. I'm like, well, I never had a negative Agtron score, so shit's broken. But that's a DI fluid one. I was hoping that would work well, but I'm gonna try this and let's see if it gives me negative Agtron scores. But anyways, that'll be it for today. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions, concerns. I know there's been questions about the 1 kilogram Skywalker, basically, although they're moving away from the Skywalker. So there's been questions about how good the 1 kilogram Skywalker is. Early one had a bit of its issues, but they said they fixed it. So I still remain hesitant when it comes to recommending it, especially if you want it for a business, because there's stuff that they haven't handled from V1 to V2, motors, overheating, all that kind of stuff, etc. is kind of it's been its greatest kind of downfall. And usually they don't give two shits when the community tells them what's wrong. They kind of just ignore the problem, and then they fix it down the road, and then they say, oh, look at the fix that we did for you, even though the community has told them for years, like, you need to fix your shit. So they just fixed, like, they added an active cooling fan to V1, and then they started adding more holes, I guess, and preventing ways from getting liquid onto your board. But it's still the same issues, still overheats. The motor specifically is the biggest one, overheats to 120 degrees Celsius. I'm like a broken record with that, but it's definitely needs something that needs to be fixed and hasn't been fixed. So would I recommend the 1 kilogram machine? If you're really strapped on cash and you want something that does more than 500 grams, you definitely could try it out and see if it works. You have 1 year warranty. And if they're selling them, they're more than likely going to patch you to me. If you have really, really bad problems after warranty, which have they been doing, like getting to the community. So, but if you're in California, feel free to hit me up and I can always have you play with it and see if you would like one. But at this point, I would just say if I was risking my business on it, I would rather just get a Kaliedo M10. I could say that with pretty good confidence. The overall build quality is better. And if it's for a business, it's great. But the same token, modifying any Kaliedo is, I think it's kind of frowned upon. So they definitely didn't leave the protocol open for any of us to fuck with. So that's kind of up to you. But I'll try roasting with it more, and I'll try to see if I can break it on stream and then really build the confidence in getting an M10. But yeah, if I were to say to get a 1 kilogram machine, if you don't have the money to get an M10, then pretty much you're gonna have to get the 1 kilogram machine. If you do want something to last longer and that has good parts and reliability and yada yada, then I would say get a bullet. Fuck them, just get a bullet. I think if you save the money for a bullet, it's a good investment. There's 3 cafe owners that I know. They all went to a bullet, and there's 3 out of 4. One of them still has the M10. His coffee is okay at best, but the bullet seems to churn out really good darker roasts. I don't know how some of the lighter roasts I've tasted weren't like amazing, but definitely their medium to dark roasts on a bullet tasted a lot better. The guy with the M10 does it like medium to dark, and it's okay. I don't feel like it's always consistent, but that might be just, a roaster issue. But from what I gather, everyone likes the bullet way more if you're doing legitimate micro roasting. But yeah, if you're gonna tell me fast for the 1 kilogram Skywalker or the M10, I would probably just say the M10 for now, and then just wait for, I think they're trying to get more influencers. I remember they told me that. They want more influencers to review it. I don't have a big enough reach, and I don't want to be an influencer. I kind of like what we're doing with the Skywalker team, just kind of Oh, and probably have to change that name too, because they're going away from the Skywalker name. So we'll talk more about maybe rebranding. I don't know if it's rebranding or just changing our name to not invoke the wrath of the mouse. So I don't know. Maybe there's a future name change but right now we're just gonna keep it Skywalker, keep it open source as much as we can, open source. Yeah, that's my rambling for today. Anyways, if you have any questions, concerns, or if you have a problem trying to get this connected, we can always hop on Discord or I don't know, whatever the equivalent of a FaceTime is. We could do that. A Teams meeting. Anyways, we could hop on that and see if you need any help getting those Kaliedos or even Skywalker. Feel free. Fun for me. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for being here, all one of you. Repat, always thank you. And if you have any questions, concerns, let me know.